Hey everybody, welcome back. I am Paige Dana from PMD Coaching, and this is Reinvent Her. I'm really excited today because we have Miss Julia Chang with us today. Now she is, and I don't want to spoil it, but she is the future Miss America. And she's going to tell us all about that during her interview. But right now, she's going to also talk to us about what she was doing and how she's pivoted into this health and wellness mindset transformation coach. And I'm so excited to introduce her and have her here with us today. So Julia, welcome and tell us all about your stuff.
Well, thank you, Paige, first for inviting me to help with your kickoff of this new venture. I'm very excited. I love working with you. I love talking with you, and we're that woman uplifting woman vibe, and I love that we have that friendship.
Yes,
So
very
thank
much.
you. Thank you for having me here. A little bit about my background. I am first and foremost a mom of three, and I have an extensive background in Taekwondo, martial arts, Korean martial arts. I'm a fourth degree Taekwondo black belt. My father immigrated here to the States and opened up a Taekwondo studio. So that's what I grew up doing. That is my foundation. I got married. I had my first kid. I have three, but after my first, I found myself on this new postpartum journey, and I fell upon Beachbody. That was about, 7.5 years ago. And I fell in love with everything, the workouts and nutrition, the community, the strong encouragement into personal development with books and podcasts and all of it. And I fell in love with the whole process, all of it. So I decided to become a coach. And along the way, I grew to be a successful coach, having my own team and helping a lot of women with their physical transformations. What I learned early on is that women relied on me to get motivated and to stay motivated.
Okay.
And with fun challenges, with fun prizes, with my energy, I can be very charismatic and energetic. And that's what they, essentially like bought into. It was me, right?
You were
There's
drawing them in with your personality.
right. So I knew that they relied on me, but something didn't feel great about that. Like, yes, business wise, like, sure, keep coming back to me. But there was something in my heart, in the back of my head, like, you've got to do more. And I wanted to let women know that I you can buy every shake out there and try every single workout and diet out there. They work, right? Which is why people, live and swear by them. But at the end of the day, that's not what's going to help keep you motivated.
Right.
Motivation is like a daily practice you have to try every day. And then that merged from COVID. COVID 2020 was, a big year, impacted us in so many ways, and it definitely impacted me. Um, and I really decided, I had to do some soul searching on like, where do I want to go from here? And it was just perfect timing. It
Right.
was like everything was brewing, but there was
Yes.
also perfect timing for me to pivot away from the Taekwondo business, slowly move away from Beachbody even, and do something more. And that
Okay.
something more is what I'm currently doing as a health and fitness mindset transformation coach, which is I help women find their why, busted their limiting beliefs. Ultimately, I help you generate your own motivation. And I give you tips and tools and strategies so you can do that. Will we continue to work together? Absolutely, because I believe in the power of community and coaching. There's power in that. But
Yeah.
as far as tools and strategies, my goal is that you work with me and you're set. Like, that it comes from you and not from a trainer, a diet. People invest in fancy workout clothes because they think that's going to motivate them. Like,
Right.
those help and those are great. But
So
at the
working from the inside out.
end,
Right.
yes.
So what's your process? What is your process to help your clientele?
So I have something called the belt method, and it definitely Taekwondo is a strong influencer in the belt method. And it helps, we go through, limiting beliefs. We go through finding your why, which is a huge like component of this. And one of the most favorite weeks, we go through goal setting because, I can talk on and on about how goal setting is such an important part to you meeting success and staying on track. And then busting through those fears literally by busting through a board. And so that's what the belt method is. Now, this year, what I did was take apart the components and create larger workshops from each, BELT.
Right.
And they've all proven to be super popular, super successful. All the clients just keep signing up for each workshop. And
Okay.
so I've gotten through the B, the E, and I've got like 1 or 2 letters left before the year closes. But it's been truly a phenomenal road of self-discovery and where my passion lies. And the good thing about owning your own business is that I have a lot of control of what I want to do and
Right.
where I want to go.
And kind of controlling your flexibility too, because you also have some additional things that you're doing in addition to your coaching. So tell us about what your recent adventure is.
That's a little bit busy these days. I decided, well, I'm the current Mrs. Maryland America. I was crowned last month and I'm working very diligently behind the scenes to prepare for nationals. I will be competing against 50 other women for the title of Mrs. America. And that's next month
Yes.
in Las Vegas. And if and when, it's a mindset thing, if and when I become Mrs. America, I will move on to the final stage of competing at Mrs. World.
Wow. That's amazing. So what made you decide you wanted to do this? Because putting yourself through something like this isn't, just I'm going to decide to do it and then it's an easy process. So what made you decide to do something like this?
Really, at the start of this year, January 2021, we had just gone through an interesting 2020, and I
Right.
said, this is going to be my year. I want to do something great. And how do I want to celebrate? Oh, by the way, I'm turning 40 this year. How do I want to celebrate my 40th birthday? Everything I've overcome, the good, the bad, the worse.
Right.
How do I want to celebrate that? I've gone to dinner with friends and partied it up every other year, but I wanted something more. I wanted something else. And I wanted to choose a challenge because I was ready for it and kind of just go full force. And I knew a Mrs. who competed years ago, and I thought, that just popped into my head. I have no experience in pageantry. I knew nothing about what was involved. I got on the phone with the pageant director, asked a couple of questions. We had a great long conversation and decided that this was it. And so I hired a pageant coach and worked really hard in walking and posing and interviewing on my health and fitness mindset, everything. I truly trained in all areas and I continue to do so. It is a lot more, like you said, than just donning on a pretty gown and putting on heels and hair and makeup. It's a competition. It's a sport.
Right. But the good thing I think for you is now that you're also a mindset coach yourself, like you going through this process and you taking all of these steps that you're going through, how wonderful that it's going to be for your clients, present and future, of all of the things that you're learning that you'll in turn be able to pass on and teach to them as well.
Absolutely. I haven't, I'm so deep in the throes of pageant prep and training and this is a good thing about being flexible with having my own business. I have the ability to step back and do just what I need to support current clients, but not taking on new ones.
Right.
Uh, so that's been a true blessing, but you're absolutely right. Whether I'm speaking to clients or whether I'm speaking to a group like Tuesday, I don't even know what day it is right now. It is Thursday. Was it? No, yesterday. It was yesterday. Yesterday, I spoke to ninth and 10th graders at a private school in Maryland, at the Maryland International School. And while I've taught Taekwondo to children, teens, adults, speaking in front of them, I'm comfortable speaking to women. I'm comfortable speaking to adults and small business owners, but teenagers, I feel it was a little intimidating. They can get bored real
Yes.
quick, real fast.
Excuse
Gotta
me.
Yes,
Mm.
it's got to be engaging. It's got to be interesting. Like I didn't like the worst for me would have been if they were like yawning and like looking at their
Right.
cell phones. And so I was a little bit nervous. I took the basis of what I'm really good at, the belt method, limiting beliefs, right? That's actually my platform. It's called Mastering Your Motivation. And I plan on hosting limiting beliefs workshops throughout the state. And I've been doing that. And I took that content and tweaked it in a way that's going to speak to them. And how I tailored that is I said, stop the comparison. And
Mm,
social media. Social media is big. They're on TikTok, who's on Snapchat, Instagram. Yeah, Facebook is like one. I use my parents' account, so they don't, these
right.
teens are on Facebook. And then I heard of a new one called Discord. It's brand new to me, but that's a thing. And so a lot of them admitted, yeah, they compare. We compare. I mean, how
Yeah,
can and I told them, comparing yourself is like feeling happiness and sadness and jealousy. They're natural. But what you don't want to do is live there. You don't want to
right.
live in comparison, because that can lead to unhappiness, anxiety, depression. I mean, it's just such a domino effect. And so to be
Absolutely.
able to, yeah, to be able to tell them about limiting beliefs, and for almost all of them, they're like, what does that mean? And I said, you were so ahead of the curve with this information. I was able to take my content and cater that. So whether it's to clients or whether it's to a group of teenagers, this content is applicable to all areas.
And that's amazing. And I especially think, especially for teenagers this day and age, I mean, we've all seen either as parents or just in general, seeing what social media can do to teenagers, especially young girls. That comparison factor, do I have enough likes? What are the comments saying? And they can get 10 to 100 positive comments, but it's that one negative comment that will really sit with them and will have their wheels spinning. So I think that that's so amazing that you're talking to them and reminding them that the comparison piece is really something that they'll not want to really sit and live in, because it can be very toxic.
Yeah, the comparison trap is exactly that. It can be a trap and keep you there and hold you there for a long time.
Yeah.
But we talked about their strengths, and it was very interesting because when it came down to, I had them write down their limiting beliefs, negative thoughts, and it can not only be project their own thinking, but things that their peers say to them, or parents. I'm a parent too, but like, and I know it's bad, but parents can't help but say, so and so is like this, or don't you want to
Right.
be like this? And
Your
we don't.
brother, your sister.
Right. Even your siblings, it's like, why can't you be like that? It happens. So, you can blame external factors, or you can get strong with your mind. So I had them write down their limiting beliefs, their negative thoughts, thoughts of comparison. And they were pretty, like, once I got them going, they were writing, writing, writing. And that went on for a couple of minutes. But when it came to, and I said, one of the ways that you could stop the comparison is not only self awareness and understanding the impact it can have on your self esteem, right? The consequences if you allow this to take over, but also self-worth, knowing your self-worth and your special traits. So write down all the things that make you special and unique. They were just staring at me, like some of them
Yeah.
just had, like, didn't even write anything down. And so I'm trying to prompt them, like, are you good at braiding hair? Are you good at finding, thrift store goods? Like what I'm wearing now is a secondhand dress from one of my good friends, Amanda Moats, who has created a whole career selling things on Poshmark. Like that, you just take what you're interested in and what you like, and anything can come from it. And so I'm trying
Yeah.
to put it out, and they still kind of having a hard time. And I said, oh my, okay, here's what we're gonna do. So I'm meeting you guys just for the first time today. So you guys know each other better than I know you. So I said, what's your name? Susie Q. Everyone say positive things about her, what you think is good about her. And each and every one of them, girls and boys alike, they were just lighting up at all the wonderful things that
Yes.
their classmates were saying about them, Paige. That moment right there, I mean, I was so moved myself at what
Yeah.
I was seeing, you
And
know?
I always find it so intriguing, because I even find it for myself. Like, I'll have a more difficult time reflecting on my positive traits or things that I find are strengths of mine, versus being able to look across the table and give it to a friend or a colleague or a peer. I think that your your chore, not your chore, but your task of those students, I think is amazing. But I'm not surprised that they had a tough time finding something for themselves, but an easier time finding it for their peers.
somebody else. Yeah. And you're a mom of teens. So I don't know if that, you probably have that, it's been a while since I was a teenager and I've taught teens, but it's just different when you're in a martial arts setting and you're telling them to do certain things
Yeah.
versus like talking, listening, and like
Yeah.
doing this sort of activity. And so this showed me like, wow, I can't wait to work with more children in this
Yeah.
capacity and show them that they're so special. They're so special. And things were like, you're caring, you're a great listener. I can go to you for anything. You give good advice. You are so fashionable, or you're so kind, or you always share your notes. And they were just like, you just see them light up, Paige.
Yeah, absolutely. To hear those kinds of compliments, knowing that they're coming from people that are very similar to them, I think something happens. Like when kids are in elementary school, they still have that innocence about them and they still kind of recognize their own worth and their value. But something happens in that middle school time where I feel like it's like this dip, and all of a sudden they're hitting puberty, and things are happening to each other where that comparison stuff starts to come. And then I think the social media starts to happen where they're finally able to have it, and then by the time they get to high school, they're different kids than they were in elementary school. So I think your task really helps, and I
That
think something like that would be beneficial to kids in general in school overall. But so tell me, what so do you now, you said that you started doing this through COVID, um, kind of transitioning yourself. Do you feel now that you're doing what you're doing, even with all of the tasks that you're doing to become Miss America, do you feel more fulfilled in what you're doing, or are you feeling a little bit more overwhelmed?
definitely not overwhelmed. Like I said, now that because it's my own coaching business, I can do as much, I can amp up as much as I want or slow it down. So I'm definitely in the taking it easy, not adding much on my plate, because I leave in 3 weeks, 2.5 to 3 weeks for Vegas for nationals.
Wow.
So I have my game plan for that. These are all the things that I'm doing, even down to I have my workouts scheduled. I have my meals scheduled. I have a book. I just want to read one book mindset book before I go to nationals. And that's going to be part of my training. I have things that I'm going to do from here and there. And so I don't feel overwhelmed with my business side. I do have goals. I'm very fulfilled with where I am, with, the trajectory that it's going in. And it really depends. I have a couple of things that, you know, I was putting on my goals list if I didn't make Mrs. Maryland. And now that I have, adjusting to this new lifestyle has been an adjustment. I feel like I'm fully adjusted now, actually, a few weeks into this. But if and when I win Mrs. America, that's going to be another adjustment. So career wise, it's not on the back burner. It's just,
Maintaining, maybe?
because this is a job, right? Because I interviewed for this job for Mrs. Maryland, and I will interview, you know, for the Mrs. America position, and that will be my title and my job for a year. And so that will take precedence until I, you know, pass the crown along to, or crown the next title holder. But yeah, I do have big plans and goals that I was working on, and they're on a little bit of a hiatus, but always in the back of my mind.
That's good. So to see where you are today, and maybe if you were to reflect back, whether it's a year to even 2 years, are you satisfied with where you are? Are you proud of yourself for all that you've done over the past, over this past year to 2 years? How do you feel about your progress?
Oh, I am very proud of myself, and not in a braggy way, in a
Mhm.
way that every time I think about it, I am still moved to tears, because I wrote a post recently, and it's on Facebook and Instagram, and it's a really pretty picture of me in my winning gown and my crown and my sash. And it was published in a Korean newspaper, on the front page of a Korean newspaper. And so it's like, I was picky about it. It's like a really pretty picture that I like. And I said, you see a happy face, but I see years of pain.
Mhm.
And that's why I'm proud of where I am today. And again, not in a braggy way, but I went through a decade of trying to figure out who I was
Yeah.
as a mom, as, a mom 3 times, as a wife in a new place. Working with my husband has its own had its own trials and tribulations. And it was very hard. And I don't know how to describe it other than to say it, but even though I was surrounded by people, I felt very lonely.
Hmm.
And it was such a struggle. And I did everything under the sun. I read all the personal development books. I went to church. I journaled. I meditated. I really did everything that Google tells you to do.
Right.
But for me, it was a spiritual journey. Like you know, the more that I gave it up to God, the more like less pressure it was on me and the more amazing things happened. And it's everything in its timing. And so
Hmm.
right now it's just the culmination of all this work that I was doing, not kind of knowing where I was going, like I was doing Beachbody and I honed a lot of great skills, online coaching, working with women, listening, helping to make suggestions, being a motivator, being a speaker, right? And then the Taekwondo master, of course, I just have years of experience with that. Again, teaching, working with children, teens, adults. And then all these things just kind of, came together in a really perfect time. And so I
Right.
just feel like I am at the right place at the right time right now. That's a good feeling to
That's
feel
a
that.
huge feeling. I
So
actually feel like happy for you even hearing you say that. Like it just feels good.
yes, thank you. So a lot of this is, you jump out of the plane or you jump, fall from the sky and build the plane on the way down.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm learning as I go, but and while it's scary and exciting, it's more like I know I can do this. I'm
Yeah.
built for this. And it's all just fell together at the right time. And this is something I do like to share is that if like last year, 2020, I wouldn't be able to be on this journey, because even then it was just so hard, so hard. And so sometimes timing is everything. Sometimes you're going to do things and hone your skills for your career and all these things and not knowing where is this really going to end up, but you keep doing it. That would be my biggest message to family, to friends, to you guys. Keep working, keep doing, find your interests, find out what you really don't like doing, and then you just keep going because
Yeah.
there's going to come a time where like your hard work meets opportunity, and that's isn't that what luck is? It's really not luck, it's
And
just
it's all those failures too, along the way as you're failing, all of a sudden you're learning too, so that as you keep going, your lessons are coming with you. So it's just like you said, as you're jumping out of that plane, you're building it, or as you're dropping from the sky, you're building your plane. But as you're making your mistakes, you're learning, and those lessons are coming. So the plane's going to be really spectacular before you hit.
absolutely. And you're just gonna soar in ways you never
Mhm.
imagined.
Yes.
And it's that trust, it's that almost blind faith or listening. Here's another tip to everybody:
Hmm.
always listen to your gut and your
Yes.
intuition.
Yes.
And the reason why I say that is because it's kind of a fact of the matter. Like those closest to you may not be the supportive community, like the support that you may want or you need, and that's okay. But you have to be good with your decision, no
Yeah.
matter what. Be prepared that if the world is against you, you have to know that this is the right direction for you at that time.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I was just, my next question was going to be to you, what would you say to someone who is thinking of making a change? But I think you might have just answered it.
Take that leap of faith, trust your gut, and you can never fully prepare for anything. I know that's kind of part of my personality is just to go for it.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people aren't. There's a lot of people, there's not a good or the bad, right? But some are just, you want to get all the information, you want to do your due diligence and make an informed decision. And that is great. And you can do
Mhm.
that up to a certain point. After a certain point, you kind of just have to do it
Right.
and just keep trudging along. It's
Right.
not entrepreneurship or owning your business or even applying to jobs and working at a 9 to 5. All of it takes, like, you need consistency and discipline, and you have to show up all the time and take
Right.
risks and just go for it. Like, you don't want to look back. One of the things that I tell myself is I love children and I love old people. And I don't know if that's weird to say, but
No,
I have
it's
a
not, because I'm the same.
I do. And I love like my grandparents, like I love, they've all passed except for one, but like I listen to what they say. I take to heart what they have to say because they've lived a full life and they really have wise words.
Hmm.
And And I don't want to look back on my life and say, I should have done that, you
Right.
know? And I just want to do it, whether I fall flat on my face or not. Like you said, everything is a learning lesson.
Yes.
Everything is a learning lesson. Like whether it's a lesson is like, all right, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Hey, you learned,
Right.
right? But more oftentimes than not, you're going to get something positive from that experience.
We say that to our boys all the time, like, because everything in our house is very much a sports analogy in one form or another. Living in a boy house, that it helps them to really understand what you're trying to say. But we've always said that even when they lose at sports, it's like, you're not a loser, you're not losing, you're learning. Whatever it is that didn't work in this game, well, you take those lessons and you learn from them so that you can go win the next game. Do you know what I mean? So use that and kind of roll with it that way.
I like that. That's simple, and I'm going to use that with my kids too. You
Yeah,
didn't lose, you're learning.
right.
That's simple and that's perfect and that's
Because
exactly.
when they hear that sometimes, like, lose, like, oh, gets them so down. And yes, I mean, I'm not the participation trophy type thing. It's not. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, yes, there is a winner, but you don't have to be the loser. You can simply be like, okay, I didn't win, but I learned so that the next time I am going to win. I know Krista, who is from our business coach. She always uses the resiliency resume. And I love that as something that I started even utilizing with my kids, and the celebrating failures. I love that too. And I think that even we as adults, whether you're in a career working full time or if you're a business owner, it's celebrating those failures so that you have learned your lessons so that you can win the next time.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think when it comes to like when I'm feeling down, even though I'm a mindset coach, I'm perfectly normal and I have my set of limiting beliefs and my set of negative days. It's
Mhm.
just how quickly I have more tools and strategies to get out of that faster,
Yeah.
right? But one of the things I tell myself is if my son or my daughter were feeling how I'm feeling now, what advice would I give them? And I tell that
Right.
to myself, and I'm like, all right, well then, there you go,
Yeah. What
and
a
it's
great
amazing.
way to pull out.
Yeah, it is. It's a great way to like pull out all that good advice and how like that pep talk.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for doing this and being here with us. Can you please tell the audience how they can find you? All of her contact information will be below, listed in the comment section. But Julia, tell us how we can find you.
The best way is Instagram. I do have two Instagrams. One is for the Mrs. Maryland, all that stuff, everything that I'm doing for prep. And so I'm posting heavily there. And that's Instagram.com/Mrs. Maryland America 2021, just all one word. And then for my health and fitness side, it's Instagram.com/Julia Chang Happy.
Nice. Well, I will have the links below as well. So we will definitely be able to let everyone have access to you through Instagram. And we'll make sure that everything that you have, even any Facebook or website or anything that you have, we'll make sure that that's down there. And if you like the channel and if you're enjoying Reinvent Her, be sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you really like it, make sure you're hitting that bell so that every time new content drops, you are alerted to it. So we'll see you soon, and thanks so much for participating.